Hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel. So this is part 2 of my favorite song off of each Kiss album. So this first part, we went from the first record, we went as far as Creatures of the Night. So now we're going to go through the second bunch of records. There's 10 of them. And this was like the big changes for the band, right? It's when, you know, Vinny came in, Vinny left, Bruce came in, the loss of Eric Carr, rest in peace, and him being replaced with Eric Singer, and then the band reuniting with the original guys, and then Ace and Peter out again, and then the final version that ended the career with Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer coming back. So whole lot of changes going on. How did they navigate the 80s? How did they survive? I mean, one thing you gotta say about Kiss, either way, whether you like them or not, is they're survivors, because they were able to manage their way through the 80s, through the grunge era, and they always kept their head above water. So, all right, without any further ado, starting with the first record, After Creatures, Lick It Up. They took the makeup off. It worked. Album did a lot better than Creatures of the Night. So we got Vinny in there and the rest of the guys, and Vinny's got a lot of songwriting credits on this, and one thing you got to say about Vinny, he's a hell of a songwriter. But on that record, I really dig the record overall. It's pretty heavy. It's got a lot going on. They're really trying to compete with, I guess, at that point that would have been the new wave of British heavy metal time, so the heavy rock was coming in. But for that record, I'm going to go with Young and Wasted. It's a Gene Simmons vocal on that. I always love that song live. I love the background vocals from Eric Carr, and yeah, got to go with Young and Wasted off of Lick It Up. All right, then we move to Animalize, 1984. So that's the whole Mark St. John coming in, Mark St. John going out because of his hand condition, and Bruce Kulick kind of filling in and then eventually taking over. Still a pretty strong record, still pretty heavy. I do like this record. I hate the guitar sounds on this. The guitars sound really small on this. This was where everybody was all digital. I think just starting with the digital thing back then, and the guitars just they're not breathing. I mean, listen to a Rat record and then listen to this, and you'll know exactly what I mean. But anyways, off of this record, I'm gonna go with "I've Had Enough," Into the Fire. Paul Stanley singing at the top of his range. This was the period where Paul was really trying to shatter glass. And he was doing that a lot on this record and the next record. So, but off of Animalize, I'm going to go with I've Had Enough, Into the Fire. All right, and that brings us to Asylum, where they had probably the loudest, most garish outfits ever, where Gene Simmons dressed as B. Arthur. You heard that line before. This album I'm not as fond of as the other two. They're starting to slide a little bit more into the abyss, I think, on this record. Not a hugest fan of this. Came out in 1985. But the song that I always dug on this is a Paul Stanley, and it's Who Wants to Be Lonely. I think that might have been a single because there was a video for it. But yeah, off Asylum, I got to go with Who Wants to Be Lonely. So we got Crazy Nights next. So this one, they waited a couple of years to record because they really wanted Ron Nevison to produce this record. Because at the time he was getting big hits with Heart and Ozzy and such. Yeah, this record is overly slick. It's too glossy. It's got the chorusy guitar sound that I'm not a big fan of. Yeah, not one of my favorites. This is, I think, in the bottom of my least favorite Kiss records. It's right way down there. But If I was to pick a track off of this, I'd have to go with Hell or High Water. It's a Gene Simmons song. It's got some nice Bruce Kulick playing on it. Not crazy about that tone he's got, but his playing is always fantastic. And yeah, if I was to go with one, that's what I'd have to go with. Um, a lot of the yeah, it's just very schlocky. It's very 80s, very glossy, and I'm like not the biggest fan of that style. But there you go. But they, hey, like I said earlier, they survived the 80s, so there you go. And that brings us to Hot in the Shade. Now, a while back, I did a video of my 5 least favorite Kiss albums, and this is by far the bottom of the barrel for me. This album is too long, and apparently it's just a bunch of demos, and it sounds like it because it's just like very, very, not a lot of redeeming qualities on this one. But if I was to pick one song off of this record, it's going to be Silver Spoon, off of Hot in the Shade. And yeah, this is like my least favorite Kiss record. So, but there you go. All right. Then they come back. Bob Ezrin. And they're hitting on all cylinders, and they're writing some tougher songs, some little grittier. And even the look of the band is grittier. All the glam is gone at this point. I'm talking about the Revenge record from 1992. Now, the sad part about this is that this is around the time of Eric Carr's passing, and Eric Singer played the drums on this and then eventually became a full member of the band. But off of this record, a lot of good songs on this, a lot of possible picks. I always had a fondness for Spit, the Gene Simmons track. I just love the groove. It's kind of infectious. It's a little bit all over the place. It sounds like it's going to go off the rails at times. But yeah, for me, I'm going to go with Spit off of Revenge. All right, now that gets into the period uh, where they were in 96, where they were starting to do the reunion thing with the guys, the non-makeup, unplugged and all that sort of thing. I didn't include unplugged on this list, by the way, because I was just going with original material records. Um, but the Carnival of Souls came out sort of as an afterthought. It was already recorded. It was in the can, and it was just kind of sitting there. So off of this record, I'm gonna go with the opening cut, "Hate." Just Gene Simmons, just you know, at his meanest. Um, like the weird sound effects and kind of at the beginning and the whole vibe of it. It's heavy. It's very Gene. It's I think the best song on here anyway. Like there are some actually really good songs on this record. "I Will Be There" I think is a really great Paul song. "Childhood's End" is always also pretty cool by Gene. There's some good tracks on here. But yeah, off of that one I gotta go with "Hate" off of Carnival of Souls, and that was 1997. Then we have the reunion record where everyone was supposed to participate. And talking about Psycho Circus, which came out in 98, Bruce Fairbairn producing, rest in peace, Bruce. The only contribution from Ace on this is Into the Void, which I think is the only one that the original band is playing on, from what I read. And they throw Peter Criss a ballad to sing, a Paul written ballad to sing, which escapes me right now. That's how great that song is. But not a great record overall. But I do like Psycho Circus, the opening cut. That if the rest of the record sounded like that, it would be amazing. But I got to go with Psycho Circus off of that. Within is pretty cool too, but it's very ominous Within. But I got to go with Psycho Circus off of Psycho Circus. All right. Then we got a whole long delay of them. And again, the changes I mentioned earlier, Ace and Peter are gone. Now we've got Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer in the band. And they put out 2 records with that group of players. And the first one was Sonic Boom, which came out in 2009. And not the biggest fan of this album as well. It's got some moments on it, but this is not one that I reach for often. And much like Psycho Circus, the opening cut, Modern Day Delilah, I think is the best song on here. If they match that quality all the way through, it'd be a great record. But I don't know. It just there's just not enough. I don't know, not enough songs on this one to really grab me. But off of Sonic Boom, I got to go with Modern Day Delilah. And as of now, because they're talking about recording some new music, but as of now, 2012's Monster is their last album. I do like this one better than Sonic Boom. There's better, I think, better songs on here. Heller Hallelujah. I like Freak a lot. Wall of Sound is cool. Back to the Stone Age. Yeah, which is there's a song that sounds I think Back to the Stone Age. Basically, it's MC5. It's Kick Out the Jams. Anyway, but off of this one, I got to go with Long Way Down. Kind of a deep cut on this, and I'm a sucker for a descending line riff, and this one has it, and it's got some I don't know, it's got some elements, some texturing, some layering that's maybe a little bit different than the rest of the record, and yeah, for me that's my favorite record, favorite track off of this record. So there you go. So there's part two. So again, if you're new to the channel, please hit the like, please subscribe. Let me know what your favorite songs off of this next batch of records is. And thanks for watching the part one. There is a part one. I'll include a link to that. But yeah, go have a look at part one and part two, and let's all play along, and we'll see you all next time. Cheers.